Alrighty, you guys, we were out here today. I'm going to do in-depth episode, I believe, I want to say this is 16, on the Boomstick, Doc's Lure Company Boomstick. This is the electric blue with silver flake color. I'm going to kind of be quiet, sneak up here on this grass, see if we can flip it in there. There's something down there just busted. I don't know if that was a bass or a bluegill. There's actually a lot of ripples. I don't know if those are all fish of any size. It could be a bunch of small bluegill or maybe bass, I don't know. Not really much of anything right here in this grass, is there? I don't see anything. Show you guys something here. Look at how well the head of that worm fits with that weight perfectly. Sets up perfectly. We got a visitor, it sounds like. I don't see it though. There's a cat somewhere over there, I can hear it. We got a cat outside and a cat that's inside. I don't see the one that's outside though, the one inside is inside the shop right there. I'm just gonna throw this bait around. Ooh, there was a bluegill or a bass. I don't think it was a very big one if it was a bass, but why not try to catch it if we can. Something I like to do with this worm, cast it out and just slow roll it in. It's got a pretty unique action on the tail. It's got a slow little kind of little action like that right there. Set this camera down just a little bit. I'll cast it over there. See if I can get a bass over there. I don't know if I will or not. Kind of wanted to throw a different colored bait. You know, these fish are, you know, they've seen green pumpkin and black and blue and root beer. They've seen natural colors like that. So I thought maybe this brighter blue color might give them a little bit different thing to look at, you know. Might trigger something. Way over into the shallows there. See what happens. That storm that came through a couple of days ago knocked a limb off that tree right there into the water. I've seen a few big bluegill hanging around it. Haven't really seen any bass. Either that or by the time I get over there the bass are already gone. That could be a big possibility. Bluegill are usually a little less shy when it comes to seeing people. They'll stay around for just a few seconds, but usually they'll bolt. The bass will. They'll bolt away from the structure once they see you. Ooh. Under that one kind of up in the tree. Have to kind of knock it down real slowly in. That's something else that is a good tip for you guys. If you cast up into a tree, if it's a weedless bait, such as a Texas rig, or a weightless rigged stick worm, you know, is a Texas rig, something that's not gonna allow that hook to get stuck in anything. Just really lightly reel up. Don't go crazy and start flopping around and everything else. I see a lot of people do that, and they'll disrupt all the fish that are in that brush by scaring them. What is that? That's a car. Huh. Almost sounded like a weird bird. I just reel up real lightly, and that bait will come right over them limbs and land right in the water real natural like, and then you can be able to catch the fish most of the time. Come down here to this brush and see if we can get any fish over here. Ooh, I think there's a fish right there just had my bait. Bluegill just chased up some minnows or something right there. I don't know what that was. Something I'll normally do with a stick bait or any Texas rig bait. Hang on, listen. There's something walking back around in that woods over there on the other side of the pond. Might be a deer. I don't know. I've seen deer before doing these videos. Wouldn't be much of a surprise. I'll keep my voice kind of low. Something I'll do with a Texas rig, go back to what I was saying a second ago, is I'll usually, when I cast it out and let it sink, I'll let it sit there for a few seconds. Just kind of let it sit there on the bottom, because any fish that are going to react to it and they see that falling through the water column real fast like that, usually with a stick bait, they fall through the water column a lot faster than, a creature style bait or something like that, because they have no appendages. It's basically just like a cylinder or like a stick. It doesn't have much force against it when it's coming through that water, so it falls a lot quicker. Even if you have a lighter weight, it'll fall a lot quicker, unless you have one that's got like a tail or something on it. Then it's a little bit different. If it has a tail, then it has that little bit of a catchness to it going through the water, and it won't fall through the water as fast. But just being a normal stick bait, it falls through the water pretty quick, and that can either help you or hurt you. It can help you if you're fishing grass or trees. If you're fishing out deep water, them big trees out like 12 feet, 15 feet, you can pitch that bait right up in that tree. It'll fall real fast. You can bring it up real slow and let it fall again. Bring it up real slow and fall again. You fish it a lot more methodically, I think is how you say that. Methodical. That's the way I like to fish. I like to fish, even though, flipping and pitching is considered a power fishing, sort of like a crankbait or maybe a topwater bait or something like that. Now, I still consider it as a power fishing, but I also consider it as a methodical way of fishing, much like a shaky head. I put a shaky head there for a second. I thought that was a piece of wire. Look at that, wrapped around my line. It's a little bitty stick. Somehow it got on my line and wrapped itself. But when I'm flipping in heavy cover, whether that be a big grass mat, a big tree out in 10 foot of water, or just a small brush pile like this right here, I consider it as a methodical way of fishing. because you can sit there and you can pick apart every single little piece. You can go and you can flip in there, let it fall down, let it go down through. Nothing happens there. You can bring it up through there, and you can flip it into the main heart of it. You can flip around the edges. You're picking apart the area. You're looking at everything in that little spot, and you pick it apart and you think of every single little spot that a bass could be sitting. It also can work if you're shooting up in the brush for bluegill and crappie as well. I've seen people do that. Now, I don't personally do it, just because I want to look for the bigger fish. There's a big bluegill right there. You know, I want to look for the big bass that's sitting in that brush. But if you're one of those guys that like to throw a little crappie jig around the brush, look at there, he's eating something, eating a bug or something there. Sit there and watch and see if he comes back up. I don't see what he would be eating though. We'll flip over there and see if it's a bass. I know it's not, but there might be a bass around him trying to eat whatever he's eating. I've done that before. One time, my dad and my uncle were bluegill fishing. This was way back when I first started bass fishing. They were bluegill fishing with some night crawlers and crickets and stuff. They found this one little area, and they were just slaying them. And of course, me being me, I was looking for a big bass, obviously, trying to catch one on top water and little worms and stuff. And pretty soon I see a big old flash. It looks like a really big flash when my dad set the hook on a bluegill. He brought the bluegill up, and seemed like something was trying to eat that bluegill. So I took that popper that I had tied on. Yeah, there he is again. That's a bluegill for sure. I'd say a little foam spider fly. Probably get them. Maybe even a little Dox Lure Company 1.5 swim bait. Might be able to get them today. But anyway, what I was saying was, he was sitting there, and I casted that popper over there, and they were like, "You're gonna chase all the bluegill off." And I was like, "Yeah, probably, but watch this." Pretty soon just freaking blew up. And if I hadn't been watching them fishing for them bluegill and seen that bass come up and try to eat that bluegill, I probably wouldn't have caught that bass, and they probably wouldn't have either. What that bass was doing was he was counting on them, me or my uncle and my dad, counting on them bringing them bluegill close to him. And then that bass can just come up there and pick off some of the small ones that weren't really big enough to eat the bait. He can just come up there, pick off the small ones, and that's what he was doing with that popper. He came up and smoked it. It was probably a good 2.5, 3 pounder. Definitely a good sized fish. We ended up having a real good mess of bluegill that day. Wasn't keeping the bass though. Don't really eat bass anymore. I used to, and then I just realized, I don't really want to eat bass anymore. I'm having too much fun catching them. If one day I do get to become a Bassmasters pro, I don't want to be sitting there eating the fish that are making me money, But this is a really good bait. Right now, what I'm throwing this on, I don't even think I've really talked about what I'm throwing it on. But this is a Shakespeare Excursion rod and reel. This is a KastKing Speed Demon reel. To be honest, I've been kind of messing with this. I've had it for about a month, maybe a month and a half now. To be honest, it's not my favorite reel. My favorite reel is actually, I think it's the cheapest reel I own, and that is the Ozark. Was it Ozark Trail, or what was it? I don't remember, but it's like a Walmart exclusive reel. You can only get them at Walmart. And that one there, and the Shakespeare, what is it called? Shakespeare Allegiant, I think it's called, or something like that. Honestly, I can't remember. I'm having a stupid moment. I can't remember. Those are probably my two favorite reels at the moment. Agility, Shakespeare Agility, that's what it is. Those are my two favorite reels. You know, this one here is my most expensive reel, and honestly, it's probably my least favorite reel that I have. But it's caught fish, and honestly, I haven't really seen anything difference between this and the other reels that I have. But whatever, you know. And then down at the bait, got a pegged 1/4 ounce bullet weight with a 4/0. This is an Eagle Claw offset worm hook. EWG. It's the only type of hooks I ever use. I don't use any straight shank, off shank, whatever they're called. I don't use the non-round bend hooks. I always use EWGs. You can get better bait hookup clearance and stuff, and they're easier to rig. A spider right there. It'd be good bluegill food. Usually I'll see big spiders like that, and I'll take my rod and I'll chase them out into the water and watch big bluegill come up and nail them. But how I normally fish a stick bait like this, a boomstick, is I'll just cast it out like so, let it sink down all the way to the bottom, and then just slowly bring it back in, just like you would with a normal Texas rig bait. Something else I'll do with these type of baits is I'll cast it out and just slow roll it along the bottom. I've done that. One of the bigger fish I've caught on a stick bait, and my mom's personal best, was caught doing that exact thing, just casting it out, letting it sink to the bottom, and then slow rolling it. Her personal best is 2 pounds 4 ounces, and no, it might be 2.6. I think it's 2.6. There is quite a few bass in here. There's probably a good 4 or 5 bass in here that would break her personal best, and I've been trying to get her to catch one here in the last couple days. I think I might give her a swim bait or something, let her throw it around today. But I wanted to get out here early and make a video before it got too late. Something else I'll do with these stick baits is I will wacky rig them. You can also do that. This one here, since it's it's a very high density plastic, and it's also a very flamboyant or buoyant or whatever it's called, it floats. It's a very slow sinking plastic. So if you just wacky rig it with a small hook, it'll actually sit on the surface. And so if you do wacky rig it, the best way to do it is to do what they call a, what is it called again? Most of the YouTube people call it a wingding, but I know that's not the actual name. I'm trying to think of the real name for it. Flick shake. That's the name. That's how I would rig this. I don't fish wacky rig worms. I almost exclusively fish Texas rigs and weightless Texas rigs, or shaky heads. That's almost the only thing I throw as far as soft plastic worms go. That's basically the 3 rigs that I throw. But if I was going to wacky rig it, I would go with a flick shake rig. Just basically what that is a weedless jig head. Hook it straight in the middle just like you would a normal wacky rig. Cast it out and just fish it like you would a normal wacky rig. The only thing that's different is it falls faster and you get better casting distance. We're already 19 minutes and 35 seconds into this video, so I might end up cutting it off here. I think here pretty soon, I'm not going to be able to get 2 videos made today, but I might get out tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening with a fly rod and throw a small fly of some sort. If you guys want me to do an in-depth episode on fly fishing, how I catch fish on a fly, how I normally fish with a fly rod, let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see that, because I think it'd be pretty fun. I love fishing with a fly rod, especially for big old bluegill. Ooh, look right here. It's about a 3 inch long baby bass. But anyway, I think I'm going to make a in-depth episode on my fly fishing setup and stuff, how I normally fly fish with what baits I normally throw, or flies I guess you'd say. I don't think they're called baits. I've heard people get mad if you call flies baits, but honestly I don't really care. The things that you use to catch fish, there you go. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.